These differences in fire truck design are often presented by American fire departments as a funny quirk of how different countries do things differently.
Welcome back to the Black Fireman. My name is Eric J. Neal, and in today's episode, we will talk about American fire trucks versus European fire trucks. Now, before we get started, why don't you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button, give me a like, and also hit that notifications button so that you won't miss one single episode. Now, today, we're challenging the American fire truck versus the European style fire truck. Now, between the two, the only thing I can see that's different is the size. American fire trucks are noticeably bigger than the European style fire trucks. But why is that? Is it that the Americans know something that the Europeans don't know? Or vice versa? Is bigger better? Or is smaller, more compact the way to go? Well, in today's episode, we will challenge that, and we will also see a couple of videos that will discuss the sizes and why it is what it is. Now, I came across a video on YouTube that was called How the American Fire Departments Are Getting People Killed. This is from, I want to give credit to the content creator, and it's called Not Just Bikes. They had a lot of valid points that I agreed with and some that I did not agree with. But those are my opinions. I want you to go down in the comment section and type in how you feel about it, whether you're on the European side or whether you're on the American side. It really doesn't matter. So let's look at the video to see what we come up with.
The morphing role of the American Fire Department as the response to nearly every emergency is one of the reasons their fire trucks have become so bloated. They have to carry more than just fire equipment. They have to be prepared for medical emergencies, gas leaks, hazmat situations, biochemical attacks, and more. These giant do-everything fire trucks mean that fire departments are hauling all this firefighting equipment with them to every emergency call. Equipment like 1,000 gallons of water for a fire engine or a 100-foot ladder for a fire truck, even though that equipment is needed in just a small percent of emergencies.
So when they talk about a small percent of emergencies, it's just that. In today's society, the majority of firefighter calls are EMS. 65, 70, 80% in some areas. So where does that leave firefighting? It leaves it at a very small percentage, somewhere between 5 to 8%. Now, do we need all that equipment on every single call? Of course not. But do we need it when we need it? Obviously, we do. Now, that fire truck is just a huge toolbox with every tool in it that we may need on any scene. And that's just the way things are done in firefighting. Now, we go out to EMS calls because of personnel. There's a lot of personnel needed on full arrest calls, on minor medical calls. If it's a priority 1, of course, everybody's coming. If it's a priority 3, we may be able to get away with just one ambulance. But for the most part, the ambulances do not get there as quick as a fire truck. And why is that? It's because we have more fire stations and more fire equipment than we do ambulances. So we're the first responders. We normally get there before the ambulance get there. We assess the patient, we stabilize the patient, and then the ambulance gets there for more advanced medicine and then transport if needed. So let's look at something else that may be different between European and the American fire truck.
There are a few other reasons why North American fire trucks are larger than their European counterparts. In the US and Canada, fire trucks are typically built on a large custom chassis, which allows purchasers to keep adding more and more features as the trucks get bigger and bigger. European and Asian fire trucks are typically built on standardized commercial chassis from local companies like MAN, Mercedes, Renault, Scania, or in this case, Isuzu. These are basically regular commercial trucks that have been adapted for use in firefighting. Using a standardized chassis makes the trucks cheaper and more maneuverable, and they also have better crash safety too. But using smaller trucks does mean that fire departments have to figure out how to more effectively use the space in their trucks. If you compare the inside of an American fire truck with the inside of a European truck, you can see there's a huge difference. It's not that European firefighters are less prepared, they just pack things better in the smaller space available. Which is why when you see the absurd size of American fire trucks discussed online, there will be some American firefighter in the comments who tries to set everyone straight by typing a laundry list of things that American fire trucks carry, justifying why their trucks need to be so big. Which is then followed by a German firefighter saying, "What the hell are you talking about? We carry all that stuff too, but our trucks aren't enormous."
So there you have it. When you compare the American fire truck to the European fire truck, every piece of tool that's needed, both of them seem to carry. But how are they compacted into the compartments? Looking at that video, it looks like the European style fire truck is just putting things in a place that's more efficient and more effective to where they can utilize them when they get them. And looking at the American fire truck, it's looking like we have a bunch of empty space. Now, me being a fire chief and a firefighter for almost 30 years, I can attest that our fire trucks are not as compacted as the European style fire trucks. We can do a better job of supplying the fire truck and put things in its place. Therefore, we can get more equipment on it. But that's not the reason why the fire trucks are so big. The European style fire trucks are telling us that we could put the same amount of equipment that we currently have in our fire trucks into a smaller frame. If that's the case, then why don't we do it? Well, some people may say it's because of the size of the buildings and things like that. We need longer ladders. We need more horsepower to pump out those water pumps. We need a lot bigger and a lot heavier size equipment to carry everything, including the amount of water, the ladder size, etc. I don't know. Let's look at another clip to see if some of these things are right.
The American fire truck is also over-spec'd. While a European engine will have just enough horsepower for the pumps, an American engine will typically be more than 20% higher horsepower than required, which makes the size of the truck much bigger. And European fire trucks use the minimum number of valves, typically 2 to 4, which the pump operator manually adjusts to achieve proper pressure, while North American fire trucks often have 7 to 14 valves based on a system of pre-connected lines. They're really living up to the US stereotype of getting the biggest and most overpowered truck you can get just for that one time you might actually need it. We also hear that American fire trucks have to be so big because of the length of the ladders. Because of course, American cities have big buildings that need big ladders. Look, if you go to any city with skyscrapers like Tokyo or Hong Kong, I'm sure you'll see the same thing. Oh, wait, no. Actually, they use the same size fire trucks that the rest of the world uses. Look at how tiny this fire truck looks in Tokyo. And here's a fire truck and a fire engine in Hong Kong. And yet, European and Asian fire trucks have ladders that reach just as high, even though the trucks themselves are shorter and have a smaller turning radius. And what's absurd about this is that even if larger ladders are required where there are tall buildings, why are the exact same fire trucks used in suburbia where there's nothing but single-family homes?
So again, they make a great point that we use oversized trucks for every single application. They are what we utilize, period. It's what we've known since the beginning. But why can't we change? Why can't we adjust or conform to what we actually need? I don't know. Is it what we actually need? The size of our fire trucks, they are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what does this do? It allows for us to put more equipment on it, but do we put more equipment on it? I haven't seen it. We keep putting the same equipment on these fire trucks that we've always placed on these fire trucks. Now, if we get them a little bit more compacted, can we still get this equipment on here? I don't know. Comment down below and let me know. Also, when we talk about these fire trucks, everybody has their preference. Now, these videos that I'm playing, they're from a European individual. So they are biased about their fire trucks. They think smaller is better. They think smaller is more maneuverable. They think smaller is more gas efficient. They think smaller will create less accidents than more accidents. They think smaller is better because even if they were in an accident, they won't create more damage than a bigger one, but the rating as far as impact is better than a big one. I don't know. Again, this video is not for me to say whether I like American or whether I like European. This video is for you to let me know what you prefer. Some Europeans may prefer bigger. Some Americans may prefer smaller. We don't know unless you guys tell us. I'm looking forward to you guys' comments about this. But we're not done yet. Let's finalize this video with this last little segment from this European YouTube channel that I discovered.
In 2005, the Discovery Channel aired an episode of Mean Machines where a US fire truck used on a US military base in the UK was put into head-to-head competition with a local UK fire truck. They had them run a mock obstacle course to see which one was more maneuverable. It was embarrassing. Look at this. A professional fire truck driver is running over cones, left and right because these vehicles are insane. Meanwhile, the European truck navigated the course with ease. It wasn't even a contest.
Now again, looking at this video, it's showing the European style truck not having a problem weaving through the cones, while the American style fire truck is knocking over cones left and right. Now, we don't know if this was set up or not. They could have had somebody in that American fire truck hitting the cones and making it look massive over the European style fire truck that didn't hit a single cone. And that's fine. I know that I've driven fire trucks, and the fire trucks I have driven, guess what? In an obstacle course, I've hit a cone or two. But I've corrected that, and with practice, it made me better. I stopped hitting cones, so as a driver, I was pretty doggone good. But that doesn't take away the fact that something that's bigger is gonna be more difficult to maneuver on small streets. And that's just what it is. So again, comment down below. Let me know what you think about the American fire truck versus the European style fire truck. Which one is better and why? Let's get the conversation started. And guess what? If the American fire truck is better, Europe, you need to make changes. If the European fire truck is better than Americans, we need to make changes. But that takes a lot of work, not only just the fire trucks themselves, but also the infrastructure in which the fire trucks are driven in. So again, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.